It's Team of the Year, guys, so if you want to have a chance of getting one but you don't want to spend your kidney on FIFA points, be sure to check out MMOXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're fast, cheap and reliable, and if you use my code REMA, you will get 5% off your order. So what's up guys, my name's Ash and welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Let me know if you guys have packed a Team of the Year yet, because I know some of you are jammy. I'm about 600 packs deep and I still haven't got one, so yeah, my luck's not great, but yeah, anyway, in today's video guys, I've got some 4222 custom tactics and player instructions, but just before we get into today's video, I'd very much appreciate it if you could drop it a thumbs up, as that does really help with the YouTube search algorithm. Also subscribe to the channel if you are new, so you never miss out on any videos like this one, and don't forget to turn on those notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And of course, if you do want those FIFA coins, be sure to check the description. It's much cheaper than buying FIFA points. Okay guys, so starting off with the custom tactics. For the defensive style, I like to use balance. This is the same for every formation, every tactic that I use, because I think balanced is the best. It gives you the most control when you are defending, so you can press when you need to, and then you can be more conservative and drop off when you need to as well. So it does give you the very much needed balance in defense. If you do need a bit of assistance and you prefer to use pressure tactics, go right ahead, but just beware that you do lose a bit of control when you are defending, because it's very one-dimensional. So if you can get used to balanced, then yeah, please do. But moving on to width guys, I have this on 38. The reason for this is FIFA 23 is quite a narrow game, so it's important you block those passes and runs through the middle, because that's where the danger is. The goal's in the middle, you know, everything happens in the middle, so it's important you do cover those areas. Now I do get a lot of comments saying, if FIFA 23 is so narrow, why do people run and do those cutbacks? Now the reason for this is because they would be able to do it anyway. It doesn't matter if you defend or like narrow or wide, they'll still be able to get those stupid cutbacks. It's just part of FIFA, it's a game mechanic, so yeah, it doesn't really matter if you up that width all the way, they would still get those cutbacks on you. So I like to have this on 38. Now moving on to depth guys, I like to have this on 72. This is for the automatic offside trap, and yeah, I like to press quite high up manually, so by having my higher depth, it allows me to win the ball higher up the pitch. And people also often rush when you do use a higher depth, because they see space and they're like through ball. So if you get good at reading the passes, you can quite often get the ball back very quickly, so it is nice. But if this depth is too high for you, you can obviously lower this, that is no problem at all. Now moving on to build-up play guys, I like to use this on balance. This is just because it's the most suited for all the different styles of FIFA 23 gameplay there is. Sounds stupid to say that, I know, but sometimes it's heavy and slow, sometimes it's fast and heavy, sometimes it's laggy. You know, FIFA's a random game, you know, the inconsistent gameplay, so having it on balance suits you up for the most types of like the most common types of gameplay essentially. Now moving on to chance creation guys, as always I suggest direct passing. The reason for this is, if you look at the diagram in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, you can see the white dots, which are your attackers. They're constantly moving around in that dynamic motion to really create those passing options, to create those chances. If you look at something like balance, this doesn't really happen. They're very static, so it can be very difficult to actually break through your opponent's defense, because balance just doesn't bother the defense at all. So very important to have this on direct passing guys. Now moving on to the attacking width, because the 4222 is a narrow formation, but it does have a bit of natural width because there are like 4 forwards, I like to have my width on 42, so we keep our team nice and compact and narrow when we are attacking, but we still have the natural width of the cam, so it is a very nice balance to have this on 42. Now moving on to players in box guys, I suggest having this on about 5. It is down to preference, but I like having this bang in the middle, because I don't want to overcommit my entire team into the box, because then we get counter attack. So by having this on 5, we do have a nice balance. Now for corners and free kicks, this one's down to preference, but I just have this on 1 because I don't really cross the ball from set pieces anymore. I usually just take them short, so yeah, I just have this on 1, but if you want to up it, that is completely fine. Now, moving on to the players you want to use, guys, in the two striker positions, because this is a two striker formation, you can have a bit of variety between the two strikers. I like to go for a bit of a creator finisher dynamic. So I have Di Maria, who's more of a creative striker, so he's got like the 5-star skills. He's not got as good a shooting as Robbie Keane, but he's the more technical of the two, so he's going to be able to create more chances for Robbie Keane, so it does give us a nice balance in attack. Robbie Keane is obviously the clinical finisher, the one that is going to get most of the goals in this team. So I do suggest going for a balance between the two strikers, but if you want to use like two lengthy or two explosive players, that's also fine. Now, moving on to the two cams, guys, you just want to use those fast, pacey, winger style players, ones with good dribbling, ones that are agile, ones that have skills maybe, ones that can shoot, cross, basically do a bit of everything in attack. But it is very important that these players are quick because they're your main outlets in the team. Moving on to the two CDMs, in the right CDM spot, I suggest a box-to-box player. So this Paul Pogba flashback is perfect. You want somebody that's going to be able to attack and defend. The ideal work rate is obviously a high because it gives you the most efficient player where they're going to be very good in contribution to attack and defense. But Pogba, for example, is a high medium, which isn't perfect, but it's okay. Now in the left CDM spot, I've actually got a very inefficient player here. You're going to want a defensive stay back CDM, somebody like that Path to Glory Palinha, Casemiro, one of those types of players. Now, the reason I'm using Park Ji-sung at the moment is just because I'm trying to save my coins to see if I can get anything from the Team of the Year stuff. But when Team of the Year is over, I will just fix this up to a more defensive CDM. And the ideal work rate for this player is a medium-high work rate, but don't stress about it too much. Now, moving on to the two fullbacks, I suggest going for a balance between the two. So I have one that's good in attack, so Roberto Carlos, one that's going to get forward, and then I have one that's better in defense, which is Cafu. This is just to have a balance between the two fullbacks. So yeah, that's really just down to preference. If you want to have two attacking fullbacks, that's fine. Two defensive fullbacks, that is also fine. As for the centre backs and goalkeeper, these just need to be as good as you can possibly get them. Now, moving on to the player instructions, guys, on the left striker, the one that I said is my more technical player, I just have stay central, mixed attack, and I leave everything else alone. The reason we have him on stay central is because we don't need this player to drift off to the wings. We've already got the cams, which will cover that area, and as you will see, one of the fullbacks too. So we just have stay central, and we also have mixed attack because we don't just want this player to get in behind all the time. Sometimes we need this player to create for the other strikers. So by having him on mixed attack, sometimes he will sit a little bit deeper so he could receive the ball, and then he could maybe play a through ball through to Robbie Keane, so we have a bit more variety in attack. As for the right striker, the one which is my more finisher striker, I have stay central and get in behind. Again, stay central, we don't need this player drifting off to the wings, we've already got players there, and get in behind because this player is the finisher. We need him to make those runs, we always need him to be in the position to finish off those chances, and like I said, Robbie Keane could make this run in behind by default, and then Di Maria could sit a little bit deeper to play that pass. So it does work very nice, guys. Now on both cams, I just suggest get into the box for cross. The reason for this is if you have them on balance crossing runs, sometimes they're a little bit conservative. They don't really get involved in the attack, especially when you're in the penalty box, because they kind of just sit there. They're kind of like passengers. So by having them on get into the box for cross, they make those transitional runs into the penalty area to really get involved and to really assist you in the attack. Doesn't mean you have to cross the ball to them. It just means they will get into the right areas. So get into the box across on both the cams. Now for the more defensive CDM, the one which is going to stay back, I'm currently just using stay back while attacking and cover center. We want him to stay back while attacking, that's pretty self-explanatory, he's a defensive player, and we want him to cover center because we need him to cover those central areas. We don't need any more players on the wing because we've already got Chiesa and Roberto Carlos on this side. We need him to cover those central areas. Now I used to use cut passing lanes, but I don't really want to restrict this player in defense. Sometimes I want him to cut passing lanes, other times I might want him to man mark. So just having it unbalanced makes him do a bit of everything. Now moving on to the left back, the one which I said is my more attacking fullback, I have balanced attack and overlap, because if you remember what I said in the custom tactics, the 4-2-2-2, albeit a little bit of a wider formation than let's say the 4-2-3-1, it's still quite narrow, so sometimes we need that extra width. So we have balanced attack and overlap, so this player joins the attack for us, and we have overlap, so he's always adding extra width by making those overlapping runs. A lot of mistakes people make is when they have one on balance and then mixed attack, because this player doesn't really contribute anything then. He's just coming narrow and he doesn't really add to the width, so it's not very beneficial. So make sure you have this player on overlap. Moving on to the right back, I have stay back while attacking and overlap, because like I said, this is my more defensive fullback. This means we always have at least 3 defenders back, as well as that CDM in Park Ji-sung, and we have overlap in case we do trigger a run forward with L1. We want him to add the extra width. We don't want him to come narrow. We still want him to overlap. As for the centre backs and goalkeeper, I just leave everything on default, and yeah, that's basically it, guys. If you have enjoyed this video or found it useful, I'd very much appreciate it if you could drop it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, so you never miss out on any videos like this one, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And yeah, if you guys do need FIFA coins, be sure to check the link in the description and use my code for 5% off for those cheap FIFA coins. And yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.